Hi there, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about Dragon Ball Super Part 7 from Manga Entertainment. Links are going to be in the description down below for where you can pick this up. So without further ado, if you like this sort of content and you want to see more, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as that cheeky notification bell to be notified when more videos drop. Yeah, let's just jump straight into it. This is the kind of pre-rounds before we get to the actual official Tournament of Power. It's interesting to see them all in English because I've only ever seen them in Japanese. So to me, it was very, very different, where I kind of think I like the Japanese one a little bit more. Now, there are a few things that do actually generally irritate me in this one, and I'll explain when I come up to them. Now, in Part 7, we have some mini matches to kind of please the Omni King. This is the main thing that goes on for a long time. So we have matches like Majin Bu, Gohan, and Goku versus the other universe, and then it kind of moves on to the everyone trying to find characters to kind of come in and join the Tournament of Power. So they've got to kind of get them to agree. So they use like little tactics like, we'll give you 10 million Zeni if you can do this. If you don't, we'll give you whatever you want, just come along and be in this match. I do feel like some of this entire whole series before the Tournament of Power was just multiple filler episodes, which some were good, some were bad, and it just kind of got to me a little bit. Like, I would have much preferred them to kind of cut things down and go straight into the tournament. I'm gonna give you my thoughts on this one. I believe there was a lot of filler in this, and this just kind of pushes the narrative that they wanted to reach a set amount of episodes. So they kept pushing and saying like, oh, it's only like 36 hours until this. And the next would be like, it's only 35 hours till this. Or it just kind of really annoyed me. I just generally think there could have been a lot more to it. No, I generally like the pre-matches, especially the one with like kind of Majin Bu. But for his character, Majin Bu always irritates me. It feels like it's a mind of a child in a adult's body. And it's just one thing that Boo wants to play, Boo wants to eat, Boo wants to do this. And he doesn't take it seriously, not unless someone gets hurt, mainly like Hercule or Mr. Satan, as they call it in this. So for this, that's the main thing. Once Satan gets hurt, Boo goes absolutely ballistic. But beforehand, it's like, oh, you go play, it's so much fun. I'm like, hate you, Boo. I generally hate you. Another thing that did kind of really annoy me is the fact that you see Boo get really buff. He's really like into all this, and that's great. But then later on, it's like he goes to sleep for 2 months. And there's no way of waking him. Now, you could have used the Dragon Balls, the Mechian Dragon Balls. You could have got Whis to wake him up. It's these little things that you could have added in that would have been so much better. But obviously Majin Bu would have been overpowered and like pretty much like knock everyone out straight away. So I understand why they did this, but it was the same tactic that they used in the first time. Oh, we don't want Majin Bu in, so we'll just leave him falling asleep. So I wonder why they kind of done that. I know Toriyama just doesn't like him, so therefore he's kind of a benched character. And that just kind of really annoys me. Why have him in there? Why not just have him somewhere else, never draw him again? I think one thing I wasn't really too keen on was multiple universes, like kind of bagging on like the Universe 7, like Goku's and stuff like that. I know that they were like, oh, we're more powerful. It's like, you'd kind of walk into this knowing we don't know what these guys are like. Goku could literally just snap his fingers and everyone would be taken out. I just felt that kind of annoyed me a little. Yeah, that really did annoy me. Now, going kind of back to Boo's pre-match, I like the fighting for that one. I generally kind of think that the trio brothers, they didn't really know what was going on. They thought it'd be a cakewalk. They were the strongest, so they could easily do things. But, seeing Boo fight, I genuinely liked and wanted to see more. I think obviously, as I've just said, like the whole thing of him falling asleep was horrible. But, just seeing to the point where they were like, oh my God, like we can't beat him. Like we've blasted him straight through. Like what's going on? And it's just Boo going, nope, keep coming all the time. He should have been in the next match, so things could have kept coming over and over again. Trio brothers, I generally really, really hate them because I feel like, why are you even here? I couldn't understand it. I could see it if it was like the Pride Troopers or something, but I literally just kept thinking, why are you here? Especially like you had one that was quick on his feet, one had like poison and obviously takes out Gohan quite quickly until Gohan like uses other senses. I generally kind of think that thing shouldn't have been in, even if it was like kind of a natural ability, because it does take them all out. it wound me up way too much for this one. I also kind of think that halfway through the tournament, like, if anything felt cool or anything was fun to Zeno or the Omni Kings, that it was just allowed. Like, you know, it's like, you can't kill someone. Oh, we've just killed 3 people. That was fun. It's allowed. I generally really hated this, and you see this like much later on in the Tournament of Power. But again, anything that was cool or wow or amazing was allowed in. So when they mentioned that, I think there's a rule that you're not allowed power-up items, and I think one of the dogs, he gets a power-up item. You know, it's like, that's not allowed. It's like, oh, that's so cool. Yeah, it's allowed. And then Gohan later on says he doesn't want a sensu bean to kind of give his strength up again. I'm like, you don't see it anywhere else in the Tournament of Power. So that kind of got to me. But yeah, any rule set that was set down, it just seemed to be, if it was cool, it's allowed, regardless of what was set previously. I'm glad that one of my favorite characters, Gohan, got a lot more kind of character progression in this. It didn't feel like he was benched like you saw him in Resurrection of F. You know, this to me felt like this was his kind of redemption. I didn't like the fact that he wanted to fight while as the poison going through his body. I'd have much preferred Gohan to actually be at his like fullest, so he could go in and he could take people out, rather than just be like, oh, I'm poisoned, so I have to wait until it goes through. If it goes through Super Saiyan, then it literally carries on. I didn't like that, and I felt like it was kind of a pushback. But seeing Gohan train, Gohan do a lot more, I generally really liked that. To me, that was perfect. Now, I know this was a huge thing like back in the day when it happened, but Master Roshi having this like kind of urge where you had to go grab girls, where he's like, oh, I gotta grab these girls, like, oh, beautiful girl. It generally does annoy me when I see this sort of stuff. And I know obviously what Master Roshi's like. Him getting rid of his lust, which was fine. I'm glad that the writers, when they were like, we need to make sure that he doesn't get kind of grabby or kind of get pushed out the ring, so let's actually get rid of this. That was a nice kind of touch. I think it didn't need to be in, like, Master Roshi could contain himself, but to me it just felt like it was a little bit more kind of like plot to it. Character development, yes, I'm glad that they put it in, but you know, it just kind of think that they could easily change this rather than having to go after Poir all the time and be like, oh, Poir, you've completely changed, and then try to get his way with Poir. That was just weird. I like the fact that Piccolo does turn around and say, like, I know you've got a hidden power. I know that you can go past this and we need to do it. And that's fine. I really kind of wish we saw that some point rather than it being kind of teased. As in, you see Gohan go God mode, or he goes a lot stronger to his next stage. It actually pushes out. I feel like they teased it in case they're going to bring it back much later on. And I hope they do. But at the moment, I feel like there is a lot more with Gohan coming up. And I know that probably in the next saga that we see, Moro, I think, that maybe we will see that as well. I think the training, the way that Gohan gets his fighting spirit back, you know, he's like, yeah, I'm going to fight. That I generally like, because for the past couple of times, Gohan just gets the blunt end of the stick. Like, no one cares about Gohan. So this, seeing him train, you're getting that moment back. You know, Piccolo telling him, look, this is your kind of thing that happens. That you doubt yourself. You got arrogant and cocky when you fought like Majin Bu. This is just perfect. And just the way, the determination in his eyes. And even when you see it later on, when he goes to Goku and says, hey, we need to train, like, you know, I want to show you my power. And he goes that one step further. That I absolutely loved, because it felt like my favorite character was now getting back to this top spot where he was. And I bloody well loved it. One episode that got to me that I generally really didn't like is the one where Goku goes and finds Tien. He tries to convince him to join the Tournament of Power. Now, I know everyone has their own thing that they have to do, but I generally kind of thought Tien would go with Goku and say, yeah, no problem, I'll do that. But for me, it was just seeing like the magic used on the pupils and stuff. I didn't really like that. And then this girl like turning up, and then Master Roshi being like, oh, I've come to see you train. And then suddenly this girl, he's like, yep, I'm taking her away. That I just generally really didn't like at all. I think the only kind of saving grace for that episode is the leading into the next one, where they're like, okay, so Goku's going to fight Gohan. Boom, that's about it. The animation to me was spot on in this. I think maybe at times there were little things that did kind of change, that you saw that the animation dropped a tiny bit, but because you had so many people working on it, you saw the animation change, the styles change slightly, and this I think was fine. I did hear that they decided to put it through like a line machine, like they made the lines of the characters thicker. I'm sure there is a machine. If there's a rumor like that, let me know down below in the comments. But you can see the animation progressing, get better and better over time. So my final thoughts. I did enjoy it. I do think that there was a lot of filler that you didn't really need, and that kind of irritated me. I know at the time I wanted to know what happened at the Tournament of Power. That's one thing. I didn't really care about the lineup, the training, or anything like that at the time. I can appreciate it now because it does add a little bit to the story, but I wanted more. I wanted the Tournament of Power to come a lot quicker. The whole thing with Zeno being stuff like, oh, if it's cool, it's allowed. That irritated me a lot. It just generally really grated on me. And I'm hoping that if something like this ever happens again, there isn't going to be well, if Zeno thinks it's okay, it's okay. One thing that I found ridiculously lazy in this is Bu falling asleep. That was it. I generally think that if you weren't going to use him in that one, he could have said, oh, I don't want to fight anymore. I can't risk leaving Mr. Satan. I think that if you're going to put that in, that would be a better clause than having him fall asleep and be like, oh, well, Bu's asleep for like 2 months and he won't wake up. And that irritated me because it just means that you can have that happen much later on. You can have it happen at any point, even in the Morrow thing where he's just like, oh, I'm going to go sleep now. I just hated Bu for that one. And I think that if Toriyama doesn't like characters, kill them off. Don't bring them back. Say the dragon can't bring them, and that's it. That's the best way of getting rid of these characters. Now, at times, there were nitty-gritty parts of this. So you'd have, I think, there's a hit going after Frost in this one, where he would be like, oh, you know, I've come to get you. But I really love the kind of background designs. This kind of really brought me back to watching anime back in the 90s, where, you know, it was dark, nitty-gritty. I really like that. That, to me, was a really good point. So what are your thoughts on this? Did you like Dragon Ball Volume 7? Did you like some of the points I've pointed out? Did I miss anything major? And what was your favorite part? Let me know down below in those comments. And if you've liked this sort of video, then hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as that cheeky notification bell to be notified when more videos drop. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.